Larry Sprinkle here on Facebook Live as we take a view of Hurricane Dorian still impacting the coastal communities down to Category 2 hurricane. Winds 110 miles per hour. You can see that storm system not too far from Charleston, South Carolina. You can see the feeder bands, heavy rain tracking across, especially that southeastern corner of the state of North Carolina. There's been a lot of tornado warnings up around areas from Pender County, New Hanover County, Brunswick County, all the way down to Horry County there in South Carolina. Still some strong and severe thunderstorms associated with Hurricane Dorian. And it's quite often in these hurricanes, these spin-up tornadoes happen. They may not be large tornadoes, but it can still cause a lot of damage. So the heavy rain continues to fall. The very latest from National Hurricane Center, that 11 a.m. advisory, 50 miles east-southeast of Charleston, South Carolina. Still moving north-northeast at about 8 miles per hour. Winds are down to 110 miles per hour. Does not matter. That is a powerful hurricane, can do a tremendous amount of damage. Hurricane force winds extend out about 90 miles. Tropical storm force winds extend about 195 miles out. So it is a powerful hurricane, still continues to pound with heavy surf, high winds, gusty winds, very heavy flooding rains, potential for flash flooding, and of course those tidal surges, another existing problem we'll be dealing with as we take a look at the latest track from the National Hurricane Center. Now this is 8 o'clock this evening. You can see the position just to the south of Wilmington, North Carolina. As it tracks off, it's still moving north-northeast. Now, if it goes a little bit more back to the northwest, that would have some impact maybe there around Wilmington. North-northeast does take it almost parallel to the Carolina coastline. The difference in our coastline in North Carolina and South Carolina, that the Outer Banks jut out into the Atlantic Ocean. That's why that's a prime target for hurricanes. You can see 8 a.m., that's tomorrow morning, still 100-mile-an-hour wind, still a Category 2 hurricane, and tracking along and just over the Outer Banks of North Carolina at that time. And then eventually by 8 p.m. Friday evening, tomorrow evening, down to 90-mile-per-hour winds as a Category 1 hurricane. And that would be off the coast of Virginia, well to the east of Norfolk. But here you can see that cone of uncertainty, very narrow. So it does look like the hurricane is going to skirt right along the coastal sections of South Carolina, North Carolina, maybe reaching landfall, possibly around Cape Lookout, maybe towards Cape Hatteras along the Outer Banks. Doesn't matter. It's still a powerful hurricane. Between the storm surge, the high winds, and the flooding rains, it will cause devastating problems. Gusty winds locally today. We could see our winds gust here this afternoon into the evening, anywhere from about 15 to 35 miles per hour. That's in the Charlotte area, and that certainly the effects of Hurricane Dorian. Did want to point out once again, we still have those hurricane warnings in effect all the way from the Outer Banks down to Wilmington, all the way still to Charleston. And this is such a powerful hurricane with winds way wide out there, about 190 miles out with tropical storm force winds. We have the tropical storm warnings in effect from around Scotland Neck to Kinston, Greenville, North Carolina, all the way to the Raleigh-Durham area, extending down into areas around Scotland County, into Chesterfield, Marlborough County, and South Carolina, all the way down towards Orangeburg. Any questions?
Yeah, we got some questions. Union County, Monroe,
Yeah.
Trail.
Yeah, those are the counties, obviously, just a little bit east of Charlotte. Union County over towards areas around Richmond and Anson County. Folks over there, anything east of Interstate 77 in those areas, we're going to see winds anywhere from about 20 gusting up to maybe 35 miles per hour. The farther east you go, then you get over to areas here which are about maybe close to 60 miles from Charlotte, not that far away. That's the area with the tropical storm winds. You could get winds gusting well over 45, maybe even about 50 miles per hour. So basically, little to no impacts in the Charlotte area. As far as high impacts, the Carolina coastline today, winds near 50 to 70 miles per hour along the Carolina coastline. High surge 4 to 7 feet. Some areas, the Outer Banks could get an 8-foot surge there. And then our Carolina coastline, still a possible impact there, maybe even landfall there. Albemarle, which is in Stanley County, and that's an area that will get some winds gusting maybe up to about 35 miles per hour. That's all east of Interstate 77. This is the Dorian winds, and this is along the Carolina coastline where you're going to see the most severe winds. Now this morning, we're getting some winds gusting up to tropical storm force, and the potential for hurricane force winds from Charleston to Myrtle Beach as we take you right through tomorrow, and it goes and tracks out of here. So the coastal communities, obviously, anywhere from, say, Charleston all the way to Myrtle Beach, up to Wilmington, Riceville Beach, Carolina Beach, Oak Island to the Outer Banks. That's where they're going to get anywhere from about 55 to 75 mile per hour winds. That's tropical storm force all the way up to hurricane force winds. The computer models, every single one has this tracking somewhere close to the Carolina coastline, if not impacting the Carolina coastline. I think that as far as an opportunity, it would be maybe the southern Outer Banks or maybe out towards Cape Hatteras where there could be a landfall depending upon the movement. It's now going north-northeast. If it takes that more northeast approach, that's going to take it more away from the Carolina coastline. Here's the future cast as we take a look at right now. That storm system is just to the southeast, about 50 miles southeast of Charleston, South Carolina. Any questions there?
Yeah, someone's asking about Lexington County, South Carolina.
Lexington County in South Carolina, you folks there, you're going to get some gusty winds. You're going to possibly get a couple thunderstorms there in Lexington County, South Carolina. You get some winds gusting up to maybe anywhere from about 30 to 40 miles per hour in Lexington County, South Carolina.
Someone wants to know, do they need to bring in their patio furniture?
In Lexington County?
No, in Charlotte.
In Charlotte, in Charlotte, not you know, the farther east you go. If you call me or got in touch with me here from Monroe or Wadesboro, Rockingham, it's probably a good idea. The farther east, the higher the winds are going to be, and obviously once you get over towards areas around Laurinburg, over towards Lumberton, definitely I would say take the patio furniture in. It's always safe to do that.
And one person, Rowan County, they at risk of those gusty winds as well?
Rowan County up around Salisbury, which is still to the east of I-77, you can get some gusty winds up around 25, maybe 30 miles an hour. You know, the thing is, with winds gusting up to 35 miles per hour, especially if you take a town like Charlotte, where we've had problems with our older trees going down, that could still cause effects like that, even this far away from the actual hurricane itself.
Greenville, North Carolina?
Greenville, North Carolina is right there. Greenville, North Carolina up there in the coastal plains section. That is an area that's in that tropical storm warning area. So you folks, or if you're in Greenville now or know someone there around East Carolina, University, that's where you're going to see some winds gusting anywhere from about, say, 45, maybe up to 50 mile per hour plus. So that could cause some problems. You're also going to get some very heavy rain. You could get as much as maybe 3.5 to 4 inches of rainfall there. So along the Tar River, that could cause some problems there in Greenville. You can see the track. This is a future cast looking at tonight about 9 o'clock, the storm system. There's the eye of the storm of Hurricane Dorian right there. Here's Wilmington, North Carolina. It'll be south of Wilmington, just to the southeast of there, just to the east of Jacksonville, North Carolina. You got Oak Island. You got those areas pretty close to that. So it's going to be a situation with some storm surge problems anywhere from Riceville Beach, Carolina Beach, Surf City, all the way down to Oak Island and that area, and then all the way up to the Outer Banks. And then we track this and take you to early tomorrow morning, about 2 a.m. as it tracks off, still moving maybe north-northeast, and you get to Cape Lookout right there. Notice how close that would be. If that eye passes over Cape Lookout, that would be landfall there. And this, just beyond it is the Outer Banks. So you got Cape Hatteras in that area. That's why there's the potential this could make some sort of landfall somewhere in North Carolina over the next 12 hours.
We got one person asking about Myrtle Beach. I know they talked about possible tornadoes.
Myrtle Beach in that area, that's Horry County, South Carolina, already early this morning. As early as about 7:30 this morning, we had reports of some big thunderstorms around Horry County, Pender County, New Hanover, Brunswick counties. Those were the areas that had some tornado warnings and the potential for more. That's this area right in here, that far northeastern corner of South Carolina. And that area right there around Horry County, yeah, there could still be a few more strong thunderstorms and the potential that they had some tornadoes. The National Weather Service needs to go in there and examine that. But there were a lot of tornado reports coming out of that southeastern corner of North Carolina and northwestern South Carolina.
A lot of questions about Lancaster.
Lancaster, South Carolina, which would be just, this area right here. There's Charlotte. Here's Lancaster County. You folks, once again, are east of Interstate 77. If you live over there, much like the Charlotte area, this afternoon through the evening, there's a chance of some showers, maybe a storm or two, and some gusty winds anywhere from about 25, maybe about 35 miles per hour over towards Lancaster. And then you get to Chesterfield County there, and you can see this futurecast takes a storm. And by, say, Friday morning, 11 a.m., it starts to track away from the coastal sections of North Carolina. And then by Friday evening at 6 o'clock, it should be out of here, out into the Atlantic Ocean.
How about, oh gosh, I just had Fayetteville.
Fayetteville, North Carolina. You folks in Fayetteville are right there in that I-95 corridor where you're in that tropical storm warning area where you could get some winds gusting up to maybe 38 to 50 miles per hour. Let's just say over 38 mile per hour wind gusts. That's some high wind gusts. You could also get some pretty heavy rain, several inches of rainfall if possible. That means some severe thunderstorms. So if you're in that area around Fayetteville, be aware that you're in that kind of tropical storm forecast area. The tropical storm force winds go out a long way. That's why those areas from, say, the eastern Midlands of South Carolina all the way to the Sand Hills up to areas around Wake County, Raleigh-Durham, to the coastal plain, they're within that tropical storm warning area.
Surf City, Topsail Beach.
Topsail Beach, Surf City, in that area. Yeah, you folks in that area around Wilmington, Wrightsville Beach, Carolina Beach, Surf City, Topsail Beach are all within that potential for hurricane force winds, anywhere from, say, about up to maybe about 75 miles per hour. You're probably going to see winds over 50 miles per hour, sustained winds. You're also going to see the potential for some more thunderstorms. And within those thunderstorms, you can have some of these spin-up tornadoes. Hurricanes are an interesting situation. Hurricanes are nothing more than a whole series of severe thunderstorms. You can imagine that. Thunderstorms can spawn tornadoes. That's why quite often, as we've seen today already, we've had reports of tornadoes within that area that's under the gun as far as a hurricane. You can see this is Saturday morning, 1 a.m. That storm system is moving away, and it is gone by Saturday afternoon. Things do calm down considerably. Those are the computer models pretty much on target, matching this, taking a track. And then this is Friday morning, tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. Here's this area right here, pretty close to Wilmington, but you can see that would be making a landfall somewhere around Cape Lookout. And that right there is the American model, or the GFS. The European model is the blue area. We'll put this into motion. You can see they pretty much agree as far as just really paralleling the that southeast coast of North Carolina and tracking towards the Outer Banks and maybe possibly even making a landfall. Questions?
Yeah, we got a lot of people asking about Lake Norman, Mooresville.
Lake Norman, Mooresville, you're talking about Iredell County, northern Mecklenburg County, in that area. You're all within the potential for a few showers, maybe a thunderstorm. We're really lucky to be here, but there could be some gusty winds up around Lake Norman, up towards Mooresville, heading all the way up to Statesville, in that area. You could still see some winds gusting over 30 miles per hour this afternoon into the evening.
We had one viewer from Monroe, Pageland area, said they've been getting some rain and wind all morning.
Oh, is that right? Yeah.
She wants to know if they could maybe see tornadoes that far inland.
I think if you're in Monroe, if you're in Union County, North Carolina, I think the main thing you will see is some scattered showers and not too lot of thunderstorm, some gusty winds. I think most of the most severe weather is going to stay in the southeastern corner, and potentially maybe as far over to the west from the storm as areas up around, say, Scotland County, maybe as far west back into areas around, say, Richmond County. Never say never about these storm systems. If it jogs a little bit more back to the west, and there's a better potential for those in Union County, but you are going to get some gusty winds over there.
I think that's it.
All right, okay, that's the way it shapes up as far as the chances of winds over 40 miles per hour, definitely along the Carolina coastline. And then once you get into areas around Fayetteville, pretty decent chance they're going to see tropical storm force winds over there. We're just talking about Fayetteville just a couple of minutes ago. And then that flash flood threat outlook, definitely from Charleston to Myrtle Beach to Wilmington, all the way towards the Outer Banks. And then as we take a look and show you that flash flood threat, that's tomorrow. It does move over towards the Outer Banks and is gone. Rainfall totals, this is pretty amazing. 7 to 10 inches, that would be from Charleston to Myrtle Beach to Wilmington. That's the areas that could see about 7 inches possible. And there may be around Charleston up to 10 inches of rainfall. Then you go a little bit more to the west from Raleigh all the way down to Columbia, that area, a bit east of Columbia, anywhere from about 4 inches, 4.5 inches of rainfall. The other issue being we're dealing with storm surge, tidal flooding, 4 to 7 feet at Charleston, about the same at Myrtle Beach. Once you get towards the Outer Banks, it's the low-lying areas out there, 5 to 8 feet potential right there. And those Dorian impacts, as far as high impacts, coastal areas, winds 50 to 75 miles per hour, rain 6 to 10 inches. As you go into the areas with the tropical storm warnings, medium threat winds up to 45 miles per hour. And for the Charlotte metro area, those winds are 20 to 35 miles an hour, not much more than at the very most 2 inches of rainfall. So that's the way it is. Thank you for watching. We'll keep you updated. And of course, the very latest on WCNC.com and NBC Charlotte.